Microbiology final exam ARQ number 4. Antibody functions. Number 1, agglutination. Enhances phagocytosis and reduces the number of infectious units to be dealt with. Number 2, activation of complement. Leads to cell lysis and increases inflammation and phagocytosis. Number 3, opsonization. Coating antigen with antibody enhances phagocytosis. Four, neutralization. A, blocks adhesion of bacteria and viruses to mucosa. B, blocks active site of toxin. Five, antibody-dependent cell-mediated cytotoxicity. Antibodies attached to target cells cause destruction by natural killer cells and granulocytes, especially neutrophils. Here is Professor Rudolph's list. To help our memories, let's go through it a little slower this time. ARQ number 4 is about antibody functions. When I have a big chunk of information, the first thing I do is break it down into smaller parts. For example, in this ARQ, there are really only 5 points you need to memorize, and once you have those memorized, all you have to do is remember the concepts that go with them. If you wanted, you could come up with a mnemonic device, but for me, AONA is a way to help me remember agglutination, activation, opsonization, neutralization, and antibody, the first word in each bullet point. Now it's just a matter of the concepts. So number 1, agglutination. It enhances phagocytosis and reduces the number of infectious units to be dealt with. Because if you have a lot of little pieces and then you clump them together, then instead of a lot of little pieces, it's just one big piece, and that's less that you have to deal with. Number 2 is the activation of complement. And if you recall the complement cascade, one complement leads to another. We should just see one here. But it's easy to associate this building and growing with inflammation and swelling. You may also recall that the complement cascade often leads to MAC, which stands for membrane attack complex, which is easy to associate with cell lysis. At this point, you just need to remember that it also increases phagocytosis, and you've got it. The concept is lysis, inflammation, and phagocytosis. 3 is opsonization. Did you know that opsin is ancient Greek for side dish or condiment? So just slather some antibodies on my bacteria, son. Good. Opsonization. Coating antigen with antibody enhances phagocytosis. 4 is neutralization. When you neutralize something, you don't destroy it, you just make its presence neutral. For viruses and bacteria, the antibodies coat it so that it can't adhere to our mucous membranes and it therefore can't invade or infect. For toxins, it blocks the active site so that it can't, be active or toxic. So remember, for bacteria and viruses, it blocks its ability to adhere, and for toxins, it blocks its active site. Lastly, we have 5, antibody-dependent cell-mediated cytotoxicity. This simply means that the antibodies are necessary to mark certain cells for attack by natural killer cells and granulocytes like neutrophils. And that is it for ARQ number 4.